Positive, inspirational, influential. How many people do you know that are truly all three of those things? Finding the positive in people around you, inspiring them to be their best so the greater good is served, and influencing a generation of people to make a sport better. That is Joan Powell. The sport of volleyball and the officiating industry are lucky that Joan failed at one thing. Her collegiate coach at the University of Arizona, Catherine Russell, remembers it.
Joan told us that when she was in high school, she really wanted to be a cheerleader. And she tried out for the cheerleading squad, but she didn't make it. So she turned to volleyball.
From that one fortuitous failure emerged a lifelong success story as an accomplished high school and college player, a three-time state champion high school coach, and one of the most accomplished on-court officials and administrators the sport has ever known. Coach Russell was an influence from the beginning.
I met Joan when she was a freshman at the University of Arizona. She was trying out for the women's intercollegiate volleyball team that I coach. Later, she registered for 2 classes that I taught at the university, one of which had a section on the officiating of volleyball. Joan had played volleyball in high school and she was a very good player. But this was pre-Title IX and pre-NCAA competition for women. So Joan had few opportunities to develop her volleyball skills other than on her high school team.
Early on, Coach Russell saw certain traits in Powell that stood out.
For as long as I have known Joan, I believe that she possesses the quality necessary for an excellent official, beginning with a solid ethical foundation. Joan is a quick learner, she's self-confident, she prepares for every task that she takes, calm under pressure, and very importantly, she's never afraid to meet head-on any issue or any contentious issue in officiating.
Over the decades, Joan's talents spread across a wide spectrum in her sport. Some of the most decorated people in volleyball, including legendary Penn State coach Russ Rose, took notice.
Her areas of expertise are amazing for a person because she started as a player at the University of Arizona, helped lead her team to the AIW championships. And after that, when she got into officiating and coaching, you have to realize that, she coached for 30 years and won multiple state championships in different divisions, prepared numerous players to become college student athletes. And in addition to that, 40 years as an on-court official. So doing my math, she's got 30 years here and 40 years there. She looks unbelievable for somebody who's like 100 years old, too.
Powell's volleyball influence went well beyond her own officiating. Doug Beal, former USA men's national volleyball team coach and retired USA Volleyball CEO, knows Powell's skill set firsthand.
I've always been impressed with Joni's ability to see the big picture, to look past what might be an easy decision in the moment, to consider the ramifications and how it impacts lots of different populations down the road. Joni is fun to be around. Joni is upbeat. Joni likes to see the positive in everything she does.
Powell's leadership style helped USA Volleyball get through a tragic time.
There are probably lots of stories about Joni that relate specifically to her career, quite a remarkable career as an official. Mine is different and emotional and challenging to talk about. Joni was the team leader for the women's Olympic team in Beijing in 2008 because she was the right personality and able to connect with the staff and the players and the Olympic Paralympic Committee and the responsibilities that go with being the lead staff individual at an Olympic Games. And perhaps some of you, maybe many of you, will remember about the tragic death of the father of a former player and the current men's head coach at the time, later our women's head coach, Hugh McCutcheon. This occurred as a random act of violence a day or so before the games were to begin. And there is no real preparation for how to deal with this. And I just felt so lucky to be able to work with Joni to communicate to the women's team how this terrible act was going to affect them, affect their staff. And she was just the best person we could have had in that position at that time. That team went on to win a silver medal. The men's team went on to win a gold medal under not just the pressure of the Olympics, but the cloud that hung over them. I can't think of another incident or story that more totally captures who Joni is and why she's such a special human being.
One of Joan's longtime officiating partners, Denise Izat, remembers those early years on the court with her.
I have known Joan almost 40 years now. It means we must have met as children, but that said, I actually met her for the first time as a volleyball official in the Big Ten Conference. I was lucky enough to be assigned quite a few matches with her and enjoyed every single one of them. After that, we went on to work together with the ABO as well as ultimately PAVO. All the time we spent working either in a professional capacity or officiating capacity was just absolutely wonderful. When I think about Joan and her volleyball officiating career, many things stand out, but certainly her professionalism, her integrity, her dedication, and her focus on being a true student of the game, I think brought her to the forefront as a volleyball official and later as a leader within the volleyball officiating world.
Joan is quick-witted and knows just how to take the pressure off her officiating partners.
Early in my career as a Big Ten official, I was fortunate enough to be assigned a match with Joan. We were at Northwestern, first game goes along, second game comes along, and all of a sudden I hear from the stands, "Hey ref, the next call you make ought to be for a taxi." A little bit later, one of the teams called a timeout. Joan walks across the gym and she goes, "Denise, don't worry. I have a rental car in the parking lot and I will be able to give you a ride home tonight, so don't let that bother you." Needless to say, those kind of words calm you down. Of course, you love when your partner has your back, so we could laugh about it after the match was finally over.
Joan positively influenced hundreds, if not thousands, of referees, including Ann Pufall, NCAA Women's Volleyball Secretary Rules Editor and Division I Conference Coordinator.
I first met her at an ABO board of directors meeting in Colorado Springs. But I really got to know Joan working with her on the board of directors of PAVO and officiating with her. And she was my favorite partner because every time I worked with Joan, I learned something and she made me a better official. One of my favorite stories about Joan, and I've never forgotten, is we were both assigned to work the NCAA Final Four in Hawaii. It was December in Wisconsin and I was so excited. It was my first Final Four, but Joan had been there multiple times. And as we got on stage for the national championship match, I felt scared, worried, my adrenaline was going crazy, but I tried not to show it. And Joan, poor Joan, was working with me as a rookie, 3 rookie line judges, was a consummate leader. She calmed all of us down. So when we first started officiating, after the very first rally, I didn't look at Joan. And she stopped, looked at me, tapped her eye like we're gonna center after every point, Ann. And after that, I was just calm. Everything went away. We were allowed to officiate, the players were allowed to play, and the coaches just coached. No one said a word. It's like we weren't there. It was, we were the best officiated game I've ever worked with Joan Powell, and it was at a national championship event. And as we left the court and went into our officiating locker room, we were hugging, we were congratulating ourselves, and Joan stopped it all and said, you know what, let's debrief. Because even though that was the last match of the season, she wanted to make sure we learned something from this. And we did. That's Joan being Joan. It was the greatest experience in my officiating career.
Joan gave her talents administratively, too. She was the first NCAA Women's Volleyball National Coordinator and is a current conference coordinator for multiple conferences. But among her most important accomplishments was being at the forefront of building PAVO, the Professional Association of Volleyball Officials.
Her and Marcia Alterman created PAVO, which is one of the greatest things for collegiate officiating that I know of. She's the reason volleyball is in the state it's in right now. She came out and said, we are going to be professionals. We are going to look good. We are going to do this the right way.
Officiating volleyball is as good as it's ever been for the athletes as well as the officials because of Joan's involvement within the volleyball world.
Joan's entire family has been supportive of her efforts, especially daughter Ashley and her late husband Dick. Dick passed away last year, but is undoubtedly shining a spotlight on tonight's event. And now that spotlight shines brightest on Joan Powell and her NASO Gold Whistle Award.
Joan, with all due humbleness and respect, I am honored to participate in this award ceremony and offer you my most sincere congratulations. I know Dick is and would have been just incredibly proud, probably busting at the seams. I can't imagine anyone deserving this award more than you. Congratulations.
I speak for so many when I say, congratulations, Joan. You are very deserving, and please enjoy this wonderful, special evening.
I am so proud of you, my friend. So happy for you that you're out there celebrating with friends and family. So sit back tonight, relax, and enjoy the evening, because tonight it's all about Joan Powell. Enjoy, and congratulations, Joan.
Joan Powell, I am so happy for you, and I love you. You have touched and mentored so many officials in their lives. Congratulations, my friend.